email the president, the White House, in hopes that he will cancel up to $50,000 of student loan debt. Why do you think that Schumer has such a fundamentally different reading of what the president can and should do? And if you could answer yes or no, has the president ruled out taking unilateral action on this yet?
No, he has not. I will say that I do have some good student loan news for you, which you didn't even know you were going to tee up for me, but we will be expanding the pause on student loan interest and collections to the more than 1 million borrowers who are in default on a loan that was made by a private lender in the old bank-based loan program known as the Federal Family Education Loan Program. The step particularly protects 800,000 borrowers who are at risk of having their tax refunds seized. That's actually a pretty significant steps. The president continues to call on Congress to cancel $10,000 in debt for student loan borrowers. That's something Congress could take an action on, and he'd be happy to sign. We're still taking a closer look at our options on student loans. This includes examining the authorities we have, the existing loan forgiveness programs that are clearly not working as well as they should. This includes borrower defense, total and permanent disability charges. There's a lot of steps we're looking at, and we'll continue to review those and be in touch, of course, with Leader Schumer about our process.
Do you have a sense of the timing on that, how long those reviews might take?
I don't have an update on the timing. There's a legal and a policy review. Go ahead. Oh, Trevor, did you have a question? I didn't mean to escape. Go ahead.
I always have a question.
Of course.
So first, just on the infrastructure questions that we were talking about,
Yeah.
You said yesterday that there would be a dollar for dollar accounting of how the measures would be paid for.
Yep, paid for over time. Yep.
Paid for over time.
Mm-hmm.
Is the president willing to sign a bill that does not pay dollar for dollar for all of the proposals that he has?
Well, the president believes it's responsible to propose a way for paying over time for his vision for investing in infrastructure and our economy and American workers. There will be a range of views, including how to pay for it. People will be for or against. Some people may not want to pay for it, and he's open to having those discussions. So, but the focus of his speech, of his proposal, is on investing in America. We're talking about tax reform proposals that would help pay for it over time. But the reason he is putting this forward is because he thinks it's responsible to put forward a plan to pay for it as a means of discussing that. But it's really about investing in workers.
He is open to deficit financing in a final package.
Again, I think we haven't even proposed the speech yet. There'll be a range of views on Capitol Hill, as we all certainly know. He's proposing a way to pay for his proposals over time. We'll look forward to hearing from members of Congress on how they want to approach it, given there's such strong support for infrastructure investment across the country.
Okay, and just on a quick one on foreign policy, Iran has come out and basically already rejected a proposal that you haven't even put on the table yet. About relaxing some of the sanctions against them to get them to come to the table. They say all of the sanctions need to be relaxed before they'll consider any changes on enrichment. Is there any point to putting a proposal on the table if it's already going to be a non-starter?
Well, we remain committed to pursuing a diplomatic process to determine a way forward. Sometimes that takes some time, and we certainly have found that in the past as it relates to negotiations with Iran. We remain ready to re-engage in meaningful diplomacy to achieve a mutual return to compliance with the JCPOA commitments. And that offer to discuss and engage is on the table. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. One quick follow-up on space and then two others.
Sure.
So Vice President Pence had a pretty public-facing role with National Space Council.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of involved in policy making. I know it's a new thing here, but Vice President Harris had a similar involvement with the Space Council on her end.
It's a great question. I know it's the Space Council technically falls under the Vice President's team and office. I'd have to talk to her team about her public-facing role, and I'm happy to do that.
Gotcha. One on ambassadors. So there is yet to be an appointment for the U.S. ambassador to China. There's been some reporting that there's rumors about kind of shocking of who that person might be. Any updates on the appointment timeline, even a short list for that posting?
I know I've seen a lot of names reported out there, some of which would be great choices, but I don't have an update on the timeline for announcing the nomination of ambassadors.
For the summertime, anything broad?
Certainly hope so, but I don't have an update on when the president will make any decisions.
One quick on the Supreme Court. So about a year ago, I would say President Biden and candidate Biden committed to putting a black woman on the Supreme Court. Of course, today's appointments and news kind of generate some buzz on who those folks might be. Is there any update, anything you can advance for us on Vice President Biden's efforts to put a black person on the Supreme Court, any kind of shortlist situation to that end?
It would require there being an opening on the Supreme Court, of course. There is not an opening on the Supreme Court. Look, I think there is an incredible group of nominees the president announced today. As someone who served for 17 years on the Senate Judiciary Committee as chairman and ranking member, he has a long history on judicial appointments. This is a priority for him. But our focus is on getting the Senate to confirm these group of nominees and to continue to build a pipeline of additional highly qualified nominees who are going to reflect the values the president has outlined.
That commitment's on the table.
Of course, to nominate an African-American woman to the Supreme Court? Yes, absolutely. It certainly is. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, one more follow-up on the WHO. Is the president disappointed with the WHO? Does he believe they're not up to the task?
I think what the statement makes clear is that we remain that was issued by the State Department today is that we remain confident in the role of the WHO. We look to be a contributing member of the WHO. We have some concerns, as I've expressed, about the analysis that's been done so far about the report, and we think that steps can be taken moving forward in the second stage of the review to ameliorate some of those. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. I wanted to ask a few questions. First, I want to follow up on something President Biden said Wednesday. He was tasking Vice President Harris with managing root causes of the border crisis. He said that in addition to doing that, she has, quote, about 5 other major things she's handling. Could you clarify what those are?
Well, first, some of it is we have not yet announced yet, so I won't get ahead of those. Vice President Harris is playing an imperative role out there connecting with the American people about the American Rescue Plan. She's been traveling across the country. She's done a number of trips and taken steps. She's going to be involved in our effort to communicate with the public about COVID and the importance of the effectiveness and efficiency of the vaccine. And we'll have more to say soon.
A quick follow-up on a question I asked last week about the White House and the marijuana policy that impacted some fired staffers. You indicated that things might be different if marijuana was federally legal. Actually, the Democrats in the Senate, led by Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, are preparing a bill to end federal prohibition of marijuana. Does President Biden support that?
He spoke about this on the campaign. He believes in decriminalizing the use of marijuana, but his position has not changed.
Descheduling then, federal descheduling, and end of federal prohibition?
That's been his position. Nothing has changed.
And regarding the WHO, former President Trump accused the WHO of being, quote, a puppet of China. Does this report confirm that claim?
Well, I think we've expressed our concerns about the role, the lack of transparency, the lack of data that has been provided broadly to the global community. We believe there are steps that can be taken moving forward to ensure that an independent investigation, that global experts are involved in the next stage of this process. But we also believe that the WHO is a body that the United States should be a part of, that in order to make changes happen, we need to have a seat at the table. And that's why we rejoined the WHO. Go ahead in the back.
Thank you very much, Jen. I have one question on Asia and one question on Asian Americans. We know that Japanese Prime Minister is coming to visit, and also both NSC and State Department are set to host their Japanese and South Korean counterparts. As the representative of the Foreign Press Group, I got a question from NHK. The Japanese media asked, your administration has focused on working closely with East Asian allies like Japan and South Korea to counter China, but these countries have a different relationship with China than the US has with China. So how will you have your Asian allies cooperate with you when they sit on different interests than the US?
I'm not sure I completely understand your question. Are you asking how will we discuss China and our relationship with China when the president and others in the administration see leaders from Japan?
No, the East Asian countries have different interests than the US has with China.
Sure.
So how will you have your Asian allies cooperate with you if you have different interests?
Well, I think just like the U.S. relationships with any country. There are areas of mutual interest. There are areas where we can communicate, work together on, even sometimes have disagreements, whether it is economic cooperation or security in the region.